Coming to you live from my basement in beautiful Lincoln, Nebraska. It is Trio 30 Talk, and I'm the host who is not able to email anybody for 24 hours because I got locked out spamming all of our students, I guess. Welcome to Trio 30 Talks. I hope you all are doing well on this Wednesday afternoon. We have a very special presentation again for you. This time, we're going to be talking about you getting a job possibly with a great department, something in my roots, university housing and residence life. And we have a great guest today who's in charge of that process to get people hired to be RAs for next year. And hopefully things will get back to normal next year as well. Here is Rob Andrews. Rob, welcome to Trio 30 Talks. How are you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Because Brian, I remember you from Housing Days. We've gone back a long time. So
yeah, I was a grad student back then at University of Kansas, and Rob was my idol. He was in charge of our committee, and him and Jeannie, and I was just like, oh wow, this is awesome. And then what is that? That was 2010. So 10 years later, here we are. Wow. Not to date anybody here. So
we still look younger now than then, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Although the housing keeps you young, that's for sure, because it keeps you on your toes. So I'm going to go ahead and give you control, Rob, and you can take it away. I'll ask some questions in between, but this is your time to present some information to our students that will probably watch this via YouTube, hopefully, or they're watching live on Facebook now.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for having me. Hey, I'm here to talk about the RA process. RAs are a super important part of our housing program and really a super important part of a lot of college students' experience here on campus. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about how you get yourself hooked up as an RA and what that might look like. So how do I control this?
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Sometimes the music goes again. I don't know why, but
okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to first talk just a little about what an RA does, because I think one of the fun games is a lot of you will have experience with RAs, and yet what the RA does is a lot more complex than it looks like on the outside. Then I'll talk about why you should apply, and then I'll talk about how the application process works. So pretty slick. So I usually start this presentation with a conversation about what an RA does. Whoops, I went too far. And so I'll ask what an RAs do. What does an RA do? And a lot of people give me lots of different answers. They'll say things like they are the ones who do rounds around the building. They are the ones who greet you when you come in. They help you find keys. They write me up, or etc. will be the kind of things you'll hear about being an RA. All those are an important part of the RA job in some level. But at its basis, what an RA does is an RA's job is to build and maintain community on a floor. So what we mean by that is we hire a group of students whose main job is to help look at what their fellow students are doing and trying to help make connections between them, both connections with other students and connections to their overall community. And so that does look like a lot of things I talked about. Primarily, I would say the most important thing an RA does is build relationships. And what that means is we want the RA to know as many people on their floor as possible and as many people in the building as possible, so that if they see two people that are both have similar interests, they can help make connections, right? Maybe Megan and Tom don't know each other, but once they both love something like volleyball, and the RA knows that, somehow they can get them together and create friendships and kind of build that community. Because for our students, what we know is students that are connected do better at the university in general. And so that's kind of the overall mission of the RA. That involves some other stuff that they put on events and programs, etc. They do stuff for safety and security, like do rounds and talk to people about choices they're making. And they also do a decent amount of paperwork. This year has been a weird year for them, a hard year for RAs. If you ask your RA, they'll talk about it some because they're spending a lot of time talking about COVID safety stuff, which probably makes them lean more on some of that business stuff than we like, but it is what it is. So, but yeah, that's the RA's job, is to be connected and built in with lots of people.
Awesome. So, thank you. Yeah, it's been a good time to be an RA. I'm sure they've got a lot of extra job experience. Is that right?
Yes. Well, we'll talk about that. Maybe. Okay. Benefits and requirements. Okay, so let's talk first about what you, I don't know which I put first, benefits or requirements. Let's see, it'll be a game for me. Okay, so first we're gonna talk about benefits. The very simple thing for benefits from the RA gig, you get a single room in most cases. There's a couple places where you get a single room in an apartment of 2 or 4 folks, but a single room, and then you get the largest meal plan. Both of those are not free, they're at cost. So you don't pay anything, but I don't think it's fair to say they're free because they're payment. And so you get room and board and a small stipend. The stipend is $300 a semester. That doesn't sound like much, and honestly it's not, but actually if you do the math on the whole package, it's about $18 an hour for what an RA works. So all things considered for campus employment, you're not gonna beat that from a cost benefit. As well as knowing that every day, no matter what happens, you've got food and you've got a place to stay. That ain't all bad in the grand scheme of things. But the biggest reason to be an RA has nothing to do with that, to be straight. The biggest reason to be an RA is the experience you get. I will say to anybody who wants to talk, it's an unparalleled resume builder for about 7 different reasons, but I'll highlight the 2 biggest ones. The first one are, if you have been an RA, you have joined a certain kind of club, right? I obviously still care about RAs because I still work with them, but in non-university functions all the time, I'll be talking to someone random and be like, I was an RA. And they'll be like, oh, I was an RA too. And we'll both share a little nod at each other. Like, yeah, we're down. We know what's up. We've been together. We both have done the job, right? And so it's a instant connection that is spectacular along the way. And then unparalleled resume builder in that it is a job that requires things that employers really want down the stretch. What I mean by that is employers want leaders, employers want people who can talk, employers want people who understand how to say hard things, and those are all things that the RA job will teach you. Now, that said, don't think being an RA means you have to be the most peppy person that ever existed. Sometimes there's this idea that you have to be like a cheerleader type in order to survive. Not that cheerleader types are bad, but we need all types to be RAs. And so if you are, you can be quiet and cool and still be a phenomenal communicator. And so that's what we need. We need communicators. And the RA job will ask that you have some of that, and then it'll teach you it, because you're going to spend time having to talk to people. You have to learn how to knock on a door and start a conversation randomly. You have to learn how to say, hey, Brian, I know you like doing this, but that's not going to work for us here, and here's why, and have that conversation with it. And so it's a spectacular resume builder. You know, the story I tell sometimes, when I was in college, the school I went to, a large accounting company always came every year to recruit there from Minneapolis. I'm from around Iowa area, right? And so with the day they came, every accounting major, there's a ton of accounting majors at our school. Every accounting major was dressed to the nines and running around, right? And they always brought people back the next year to recruit. And so my second to last year at UNI, the guy who came back was an RA with me the year before, right? And so he and I were, after the day of their day of running around campus, we're sitting there talking about something. He's like, dude, Rob, I saw the coolest thing today that I didn't know about. And so I said, what's up? And he's like, well, every time they got a resume from someone, they were putting them in 2 different piles. And it took me a while to figure out what the exact reason for the 2 piles were. And finally I asked, and they said they kept a separate pile of folks with the RA job, because this accounting firm knew that it had hired a ton of people, and everybody they hired from our university could do math, right? Everybody I hired from our university understood the way the rules worked, but they wanted accountants that could talk to people and could challenge and had a strong ethical moral compass. And that's what they got at RAs. And that's when my friend Greg and I then were looking back and realizing that we knew a ton of folks that were former RAs hired by the company. And it's because the company just hired RAs for those skills. So that's not true for all companies, and I'm not saying getting an RA will set you up for life. I'm not promising you more than I can promise you, but I can say that when you're done with it, you'll have learned a ton of stuff that'll be applicable in any job you want to do in the future, particularly if you would see yourself being a leader in anything you're ever going to do again. So that's what you get out of it. Obviously, I'm a convert. I fully believe in it, and it's a big deal, but that's the important thing. So you get room and board. That's great, but you get much more than that. So here's what you have to know in terms of what you have to do to get there, or what's important about it. The biggest thing is we do not want the RA job to hurt your academic standing. So we need you to maintain a good academic standing. So what that means is you have to be on progress towards graduation. Some of the material says 27 credits. Really, as long as you're taking a full load and passing all of those classes at a 2.5 GPA, that's going to be good enough for us. So if you end up with 24, we'll take you still too across the board. But what we want is that you're on progress to graduation. So every semester you're with us, you have a 2.5 GPA and you've completed at least 12 credit hours. What we don't want is either someone to come in with low credits or low GPA, because the challenge for us is this is a job that's going to take a lot of time. And there's going to be a lot of stuff going on, and that can cause people to be a little bit, it can make it hard to learn to balance that, especially in the first semester in terms of that. So we don't want your GPA to be struggling. Then next, you need to have a good judicial standing. What that means is not that you've never been in trouble. It means that if you have gotten in trouble, you made good decisions and communicated well around that trouble, and you don't get in trouble a lot. So you have questions on what good judicial standing is. My recommendation at the end of this, I'm going to throw out my email address. My recommendation would be at the end of this, if you have questions on that, feel free to give me a jingle and I can process that out with you. If you get hired, you'll take a staff class in the spring. It's a second half of the semester class. So it's an 8-week class. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work this year. Yay, new academic calendar that's coming out. But we're going to find out something, but you'll take a class in the spring. And then the biggest thing is we start 2 weeks before the semester. So that's likely August 6th this year. It's a Friday, 2 weeks before school starts. That's partly because a lot of activities happen for students the week before school starts. And so we are training in the week before that. And so that's the commitment to be back by then.
It's a good day. It's our day right before my birthday. So that's a great time to start training.
Maybe the 7th will invite you over and have a celebration for you.
That sounds good. I'll be happy with that.
Okay. So the final game is how to apply, or what happens at the application process. So applications are available now, and actually we're partway through the season already. The due date is October 9th for the applications. What I encourage you, if you're debating on whether to apply or not, go ahead and apply, and then you can cancel during the application process. Don't miss this opportunity. I field a ton of calls in November and December and next February for folks that are like, oh, I wish I'd applied, but I didn't. And I have to say, sorry, that's the way it goes right now. You have to wait till next year. The reason for that being so early is a couple things. One, a lot of folks are making decisions on where they're going to live in November. I encourage you, if you're hearing this, a little side note, a lot of folks, especially off-campus establishments, are going to tell you you need to decide by now or tomorrow or next week where to live next year. Know there'll be lots of options even in the spring. Don't get caught in that trap. But anyway, so that's part of why we do it now. The other reason is we have 2 rounds of interviews that will happen. The first ones happen in late October, early November. And then there's a second set of interviews during the 3-week session in December. Then we do some look at hiring and stuff, and hire by the middle of January. And so that gets us to where we can have that second half semester staff class starting in February at some point. So that's the process. The application, if you go to that site, there's a thing that says apply now, and that'll take you to the place. It's through a program called eRes Life, but it makes sense that you're there. So our students.
Good old eRes Life. I know that program very well. And these links will also be available on our YouTube page. So you might not be able to click it now on the screen, but I'll make sure they're linked in our comments when this video is uploaded as well. So just FYI there. So first, we got our first sponsor here. So as you know, in Trio 30, we like to sponsor different programs. We have our career services, and they're actually going to be here next week. Our career services. Get a chance to explore majors and careers through one-on-one, in-person, virtual appointments this fall. Trio has a special person that works with us. Her name is Letty Garcia, and you can schedule that through My Plan to talk with her and explore your different majors if you're maybe undecided, thinking about changing, and what are some careers that can go through that. You can start a job internship. Are you looking for that? Look through Handshake, different advising appointments. Hey, right now we're talking about applying for a job to be an RA. and you might need to get your resume up to date. You might need to learn, how do I have an interview? What do I need to say? How can I prepare? This is a great time. No problem. Career Services can help you prepare for your interview and schedule some mock interviews for you. This is also a way, if you're out there looking, as you're a senior and maybe you just wanted to check out this, but Career Services can help you find employers, network, and really get a chance to be able to find that career that you're looking for. Because as you know, college is only for maybe 5 years, maybe 6, and then you have to find that career to start making the real money and get out there in the real world. And Career Services is going to really be able to help you. But hey, maybe you want to go to graduate school as well, but they also have a chance to help you with that, to learn how to apply, and also be able to meet with a career coach on that as well. So make sure you check out Career Services. You can look at their website, schedule an appointment through My Plan, and that is our sponsor. Thank you to Career Services. Tune in next week. We have Letty Garcia actually coming on to talk with us. So thank you to Career Services. So now we got to our questions. Do you have any other points, Rob?
Their mock interview stuff is super awesome. An interview is a super weird thing. I'm someone who does a lot of interviews, either as an interviewee or an interviewer over my time. And there is no substitute for practice, especially in the first couple times. It's nice to try it out and test it. So I know a lot of our students have used their services for the mock interviews. So good stuff. Well, that's sort of my spiel.
Nice.
Mostly that I think this is a great job. One thing I said earlier that I'll just reiterate, sometimes someone will say, well, I'm not sure that I'm the right type for an RA. Here's what I know. We hire loud, obnoxious, crazy people, and we hire quiet, cool, collected, smart people. The only thing that really matters is that you, A, want to help people and actually care about other human beings. If you don't care about other people, you're right. This is probably not your gig. 2, that you are basically willing to learn how, even if you don't know how to talk to people off the cuff. And if you have those 2 things, this job would be great.
That's awesome. A few questions. So when they apply and say they get the job and everything, a lot of our students are through Pell Grants, financial aid, have Nebraska Promise. That shouldn't matter anything if they also apply to be an RA. Do they just get their tuition waived for their housing fees, or is it through a scholarship? Just because I know sometimes that can affect financial aid at some places.
If you get a lot, like what I might recommend is put an application either way. But if you get far enough in the process that you're going to be hired, you should check with your financial aid and see what will and won't apply. The room and board comes across as a scholarship. And in a lot of cases, it doesn't matter. That's totally fine. It doesn't affect you, but it can affect some folks' stuff. And so I would totally encourage you, and I would not recommend you do something that ends up costing you money to do a job, because I love the job and it does a lot of things, but don't lose money on this gig. But a lot of our students have other scholarships and other things going on. So my gut is for like 95 to 98% of people it won't matter, but there are a couple that might. So do your diligence if you have a lot of scholarships.
Perfect. No, that's good to know. I just know we have a lot of students who are on scholarship, and I know that at times that could mess things up for them. And I just wanted to make sure how you classify the payments for or not paying for your housing and room and board and things. So thank you.
Now, our works really closely with us on that, and so they'll know quickly what your answer is going to be, because I talk to them all the time about students, and again, most of the time it works out really great.
Awesome. So. Cool. Thank you. Joyce, do you have any questions for Rob at all? You're on mute there, Joyce. There you go.
Thank you. I was looking in the picture of the RAs, and I noticed that there isn't like a huge group of diverse RAs. Is that something that you're looking for, to bring more diversity into the group?
Yeah, we're looking for more diversity. It's always part of the conversation we have. So this pictures is probably, this is going to be like 16, 17, I think. I'm trying to pick the faces.
Oh. Shoot. Can you hear me? Did I lose internet? I think we lost. I think my.
Oh, here comes. Hey, welcome back.
Sorry about that. Definitely lost you all there. My internet went dead, and now it's back. So I apologize for that. But we're back. I don't know if we're still streaming or recording, but hey, we're gonna get it going here. Finish it up here.
Still has a little memo in the corner, so I think that's a good sign.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So I'm gonna share my screen. I just have a few. We have to always do the way that we exit the show here. Did we get our questions answered about diversity?
Yep.
Awesome. I think that's
You were
really.
stuck in a very pensive face, so you look like you're really thinking about the answer. So
Yeah, no, I really think that's a really important thing. I think also, I'm assuming you're like most departments who struggle to get male candidates. I don't know if that is a thing, but I know where I've been at, it's been very hard to reach out to some male candidates as well. So if you're listening out there, there's a good opportunities for you. We're trying to, again, obviously get you some information so you can apply for these jobs, apply for this job as an RA, and make it work for you, and in your budget as well. Any other thoughts that you have, Rob?
nope. But I did say and I should have put it on this PowerPoint. I didn't. I'm going to have Brian, when he posts the rest of the stuff, post my email and phone number. I welcome either phone calls or emails. I'd love you to reach out. If something's like, hey, something you said didn't jive with me, and I want to hear more about that, or I just want to know what I can do to better off the world. I'm always in. My email address is randrews@unl.edu. That's R and then Andrews@unl.edu. And my phone number is 402-472-3872. Both are great ways to contact me.
Awesome. And I will post that for everyone on our pages so that people can get that information when they watch this. So if you have made it through here and you are watching, please make sure to use this QR code to say that you watched. It's a brief survey that you'll have, and it's going to tell us what you thought of the presentation, what you've learned. You'll get some TRIO points that will help you later on down the road if you have watched this video. And then next week, like I mentioned before, we have our career services, talk all about that, help you find a job, prepare for one. And just remember, if you're looking for us on our social medias, we have our Instagram, we have our Twitter, Facebook group. You can use the QR code to join our Facebook group as well. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You just search UNL Trio Scholars. Still looking for that 100 followers so I can get a custom URL, which that would be nice. So please subscribe. When you do subscribe, if you subscribe by the end of the month, we will be doing a raffle for a bag of school supplies for you all. So if we get some more followers, you get a chance to be entered into that drawing to get some cool free stuff from Trio Student Support Services. That's it for me. Rob, any last words? Joyce?
Thanks for having me very much. Appreciate it a bunch.
No problem. Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you,
for
Rob,
coming
for
on.
joining us.
On campus.
Yes, hopefully once things get back together, we can grab some lunch sometime in that dining hall because the food is really good, actually. So I'm looking forward to that. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, take care. Be well, and go Big Red.